Knock at the Cabin is M. Night Shyamalan's latest thriller about a family that's on vacation in an isolated cabin and end up getting held hostage by four armed strangers who have an ultimatum. Either the family sacrifices one of their own, or the apocalypse begins. Trust me, it's better than it sounds. We know that M. Night has a history of making movies that are either relative hits,
I see dead people,
or laughable flops.
What was I supposed to do?
Knock at the Cabin Door represents the most recent phase in Shyamalan's career. Serviceable movies that land right in the "that was fine" category. Knock at the Cabin's greatest strength is the performances from the cast, especially Dave Bautista. Bautista delivers a compelling and conflicted character with Leonard, a second-grade schoolteacher tortured by apocalyptic visions. It's a 100% dramatic role for Bautista, who's typically been used sparingly or primarily for comedy. Leonard is empathetic, patient, and most of all remorseful. And Bautista shows that he can bring all those emotions to the character. He comes across as genuinely conflicted over what he believes he has to do. And honestly, it's the main thing that sells the insane story that Leonard and the others are peddling. Jonathan Groff and Andrew Aldridge deliver great performances as Eric and Andrew. It's rare to even see one caring and capable father figure in a mainstream movie, and damn if you don't get two in this one. Eric is the more carefree and trusting partner. It's revealed in flashbacks that Eric has a supportive mom and grew up with some sense of faith. Andrew's family, though, is not accepting of their relationship. It's also revealed in a flashback that Andrew was attacked in a bar just a few years prior to this incident. And as a result, he's become a very defensive person. He took up boxing and bought a gun. All character details that end up mattering later. Rupert Grint, Nikki Amuka-Bird, and Abby Quinn are all solid in their supporting roles. They come off as unhinged in their sycophantic desperation to circumvent the apocalypse that they believe will happen. But without doting on their backstories, all three are fleshed out enough that they don't just come across as generic bad guys. We know their occupations, where they're from, and we understand their dispositions. Their commitment to this mission from God might make them look like complete psychopaths, but their wildly different backgrounds and sensibilities add some credibility to their bonkers request. You know, the request that they sacrifice a member of their own family. Because each time they refuse that request, the visitors sacrifice one of their own, and each time a plague is seemingly unleashed on humanity. And again, unless they do sacrifice a member of their family, supposedly the world will end, and the three of them will be doomed to wander a desolated earth for eternity.
Why?
It sounds kind of dumb, right? But again, the cast sells this thing with their performances. Except for a few televised mass destruction scenes, the entire movie takes place between 7 actors interacting together in a small cabin. For me, Knock at the Cabin really demonstrates the power of persuasion and how it influences perception. Each time Leonard and the others present the family with evidence that the apocalypse is happening, Andrew's able to present an explanation that counters it. And despite the destruction they're shown as the movie goes on, it does little to actually persuade Eric or Andrew to change their stance. No, ultimately, it's the visitor's candidness in this insane situation that plants the seed of doubt in Eric and Andrew's mind that all of this might be real. This is definitely what I'd consider a character-driven story. There's a few interestingly shot action scenes and some legitimately tense moments, but they're few and far between. It definitely won't be for all of you, and to be completely honest, I recommend waiting to catch this on streaming. It's very much an M. Night Shyamalan movie. It shies away from being too gory, it takes a few generous leaps in logic, it has a pretty unbelievable coincidence between two characters, and it fumbles the ending a bit. Seriously, Shyamalan flubs his endings as often as Stephen King. He just can't seem to help himself from putting extremely heavy-handed explanations at the end of his films. I'd have been more satisfied if he had left things just a little more ambiguous at the end of this one. But even still, I recommend Knock at the Cabin, especially if you can watch it for free. It reminds me a lot of Signs, to be honest. Another one of M. Night's movies that has strong performances from its cast, an intriguing premise, some vague religious symbolism, and also a wonky conclusion. It's not M. Night's greatest achievement, but it's definitely not one of his failures. Shyamalan's kept on going despite his stumbles, and I, for one, look forward to seeing what the guy has to offer us next.